Hello, hello, and a wonderful on-passive day to you. I hope that everything is going absolutely great with you. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff going on in the background with us, on passive, that is. And this is to say that things are going on 24/7 all the way around the world, right? Now, Mr. Mufara came on yesterday with 360 and talked about a lot of things. Foremost among those were the commission payout, which is already in process. To accomplish this, there are steps that have been put into place to accommodate the new merchant requirements. But the verifying process going on for this is for this evolution of payment only. The process includes verifying through email addresses, but this first round of payout identification, authentication, right? It's not using O-Verify. We're going to have to go through this process again when we start using O-Verify. But for now, everything's fine, so we don't need to do anything except keep an eye on our emails. And we don't want to have the payment withdrawal process working and we not know about it because we haven't checked our emails. Because you know what? If that happens, it's going to screw up the tracking process, not to mention you won't receive payment. We also talked about OConnect. It's been almost 10 months since we started subscribing to it. And since the start, actually, we've seen a refund of the original 97. There's been reduced payments. There's been free extensions, lots of stuff going on. And anybody thinking about this could surely recognize the millions and millions and millions in value that OnPassive has already given away, right? Left on the table, so to speak, because of the refunds and freebies and what have you. Now, the ability to subscribe through crypto is going to continue for a couple more days or so. And just in case, that'll make it possible for others that may want to subscribe. But within days, that's going to go away. So there's not going to be any more OConnect at this price. In fact, the next time we see OConnect, more than likely, it's going to be a new release with a different price. Once the crypto payments go away, Mr. Mufara has indicated that we're not going to be accepting any more subscription payments for OConnect until the balances for requested withdrawals are actually cleared. So we got some anticipatory stuff going on here, right? Mr. Mohammed Murad, which is OnPassive's Director of Information Technology, said the new version of OConnect is focused on scalability and stability, right? We've talked about AI components over the last couple of weeks, and Mr. Murad said that we're going to not only notice the AI components, but there's also new designs and dashboards and such. And OConnect is on track for the rollout, and it's going to be available soon. He also let us know that the O-Verify application, the app, was going to be out soon as well. We talked a bit about payment structures and the process and stuff. In the past, a few years ago, Mr. Mufara had personally planned to have a variety of pay structures. Now, because of the magnitude and the momentum of OnPassive, our business, right, each one of those had to be tested for legal viability to see if they could stand up, to global legal scrutiny and regulation. As a result, there have been a lot of pay structures that have been shared with legal teams across the globe. This is to say that they've been looked at in different companies under differing regulations, stuff like that, to make sure that the payment structure that we deploy is going to be sound, that it'd be okay to use in all circumstances as we move forward. In a sense, I'm just saying we need to know that they're legal and that they meet with regulatory compliance and stuff like that. So sure, it's taken a bit of time, but in the long run, it's going to be a huge benefit for the long-term stability of our payment system. And we did this because we know what we're doing is very, very disruptive simply because of its generosity. And we're continually getting challenged because it looks, well, too good to be true. People think there's got to be a catch. So as a result, before it does get done, before it gets implemented and announced, it gets brought up or elevated through the legal teams. You see, sometimes when we put something like that out, it gets accepted in some countries, but not maybe, it's not allowed in others. Additionally, in other situations, officials may feel, while there's no legal reason to deny its use, they don't believe that we would do what we're proposing we're going to do, which is to say they're skeptical, saying that, hey, they're giving away too much, the company's too generous, so it's got to be a ruse or deceptive, and we don't believe it. Anyway, Mr. Mufara has had a lot of really disruptive ideas. Some of them, especially lately, in the last year, seems to have been dialed back simply because there are people internally and externally to the company that aren't really happy with what OnPassive is doing. And as a result, some good information's been mixed with some bad information, and to produce lies and fake media and such. Mr. Mufara used the term, poisonous or poison lies. That kind of activity is being done by people that are upset by the progress we're making, and bad information is being put out as a way to sabotage us. And it's that kind of activity that's made it a lot more difficult for OnPassive to get things done. Now, Mr. Mufara and his teams have had to work extremely diligently and relentlessly on damage control, obviously, right? They've also had to work a lot harder to come up with a good way to close all those loopholes. And consequently, a lot of things had to be done that, quite frankly, we didn't expect to have to do, right? Not to start with, anyway. I mean, these things that we've had to do lately weren't even considered in the original calculations, and they weren't in the original plans. Because of these things, we've had to build a huge system through a completely revamped process. Now, as a sidebar of sorts, most companies wouldn't have to do what we've had to do. Most companies don't go from 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds either. Now, most companies have got, years of growth to build, and their progress is considerably slower. So those that would be threatened by that progress, they don't take so much notice. They're not as alarmed as they may have otherwise been. Now, most companies just grow up organically over time, and by that, I mean they don't amass millions in a member base like we have, or bring in supremely qualified, high-powered, top tier, top in their field, top of their game professionals like we've got. So they're not targeted by hostile actors, like we've been, because they don't disrupt anything or step on anybody's toes on the way up, so to speak. Not like we have, openly, transparently. Before OnPassive, I don't think anybody's ever claimed the goal of lifting humanity, not that I'm aware of. And, I mean, hey, heaven forbid a company should ever claim to be the correction to the corruption, right? But OnPassive has, and OnPassive did, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. As a matter of fact, we have endured severe and enduring opposition on quite a few fronts as a result of what we're doing. So, as mentioned earlier, we've had to build a huge system through a completely revamped process that sought to build a foundation that we can control 100%, right? We've always known we don't like third parties in there because they always want to jack up the price or get a piece of the pie. And we really don't need to know all the details, but we've seen a lot of things come out. We know how these things are working. We know how we can control each and every one of them. And if you want to know what those things are, then you can probably check out the last 2 or 3 videos I put out, because we're talking about everything that makes the foundation: data centers, innovation labs, strategic partnerships, the marketing, the branding, AI, automation, OES, the tech hub in Hyderabad, physical products, financial platforms, payment structures, even the brainards, the tech heads, engineers, and developers, and so much more. All of this, right, is in the foundation. So the foundation had to be built before it could support the dream. But the truth is, we really didn't know what we were coming up against. Not really. Regardless, Mr. Mufara didn't have to do all that, especially for us. He could have very easily put nice price tags on any and all of the products or services available now and future, and he could market them very successfully. That's what the man does, right? He certainly doesn't need charter members to do that. But that wasn't part of the dream. He's choosing to lift humanity, And he's doing that. He's chosen to do that by first lifting us. So we've succeeded in building that foundation. I mean, it's not completely done, but we are approaching, as Mr. Mufar says, the finish line. And once that's done, anything we set our hearts to can also be done. We can do it legally and securely and with heart. So to lift humanity, we got to touch every soul, every individual on the planet. And that's going to happen through us, through the members, the charter members, especially, right, that have generous hearts, that are looking to share the abundance provided and the success provided by Mr. Mufar and on passive. We're looking to share that at the grassroots level. And everything that we've talked about, right, all this stuff that I just laid out, that's why we have folks that are impatient. That's why we have folks that are telling others, wait and see, don't do anything, see what happens. Well, that's simply because they don't understand the magnificence, the magnanimous, I don't know. How about massivity? We'll use massivity of what's going on, or the number or the degree of challenges that we face and overcome through the sheer resolve modeled by Mr. Ash Mufara. Now, in a way, it's better that these things are arising now and we're dealing with them now, without having to deal with them after we go to market. Kind of like 4 months or so ago when we had that huge debacle that showed us the weakness in the payment processing system, it allowed us to create a workaround, a work through, right? It turns out that that challenge was a major blessing for us. Additionally, we've got some very high-powered people working around the clock for us, and these people are extremely intelligent, talented, and qualified. They've left some very successful careers to join on passive, and they're making a huge difference for us. And because of these things, we become a target as well. One of the biggest reasons we have for being criticized is our generosity. And there is no company on the planet that has so much built-in generosity. And it's something that on passive is extremely proud of. And we as charter members should be very proud of that as well. Now, Ash also talked about AI as being the biggest technological community and a commodity, right, on the planet, and said that nearly every country in the world is able to compete in its development. So the race is on to see who makes what breakthroughs first. Now, following up on that, Mr. Mohammed Kamal, on Passive's chief operating officer, said that on passive teams are meeting with people and big talents in the AI field. No surprise there, right? He also let us know that a big team is actually being onboarded, brought on board right now, right? And we're going to see some very big, very prestigious events unfolding in Dubai as we move into March. Following up on that, Mr. Mufara went on to say that those being onboarded are of a Einstein caliber, right? We're going to meet them soon enough. Lots of PhDs, professors, and they've come from the UK, the USA, the Gulf, Hong Kong, global, right? They're inventors, they're pioneers, they've all built companies, and now they're being onboarded into on passive. Wow. I mean, man, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out why, right? And we're going to be dominating global industries because these experts are joining with us. Now, he also talked about why on passive was drawn into the AI ring. Now, could it have been positioning to be the correction to the corruption? Partly, but we do know that that's not too popular with some heavy tech hitters, right? I mean, there are some very serious players. Google, Meta, unlimited resources, lots of power, been in the game a lot longer than we have, right? But if you take a closer look, you might just see that those companies are being morphed. Regardless, do you see any of these companies, the ones steeped in the pursuit of IA, trying to lift humanity? Nope. For this reason, on passive has more of what it takes than those companies do, right, to be in that game. So that's the draw for us to lift humanity through being the correction of the corruption and positively impacting the planet. Now, of all those that have thrown their hat into the AI ring, so to speak, on passive is the only one that openly endorses doing what's right because it's right. We call that heart, right? Going one step further, on passive has kind of weaved, if you will, that heart into its fabric of business to aid in becoming the dominant force in AI and global e-commerce. It's part of who we are, and we call that AI with heart. Now, On passive has also openly upset the financial apple cart, so to speak. So apples are going to be falling all over the place. Now, because it's not about money or control. It's all about creating value. You see, on passive's focus is not on keeping profits housed in coffers, which are, accessed by the privileged few. No, on passive is focused on sharing wealth, on sharing profits to such a degree that a byproduct of its generosity is the lifting of humanity, the raising of the human condition. Paraphrasing what Mr. Mufara said, we're known by our generosity. We give more than we should, and we enjoy it. It's our passion. So while I'm at it, let me tell you, there are those that are fairly well upset at us for attempting such a thing, right? Some of them are rather powerful people that don't want to share any of the control they feel could slip away because of what On Passive is doing. But On Passive is doing it anyway. We've been doing it for a while. Some of us are here in our 6th year. Many others are in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th year. And regardless, if you're in, you're going to win. The idea is to bring success, even great success, to all those who join us, and to have all those that join us positively affects the ones that don't. Now, we also heard from Mr. Mohammed Nazal, right? He's a functional industry expert. He's got top-notch leadership and communication skills. He's also a project management certified project management professional, and he's the chief marketing officer for On Passive. And he said that we're really busy making some amazing stuff that's going to shake things up. He also indicated that his excitement was there and that everything going on fuels the teams more and more, simply because they know that we're in a league of our own. And Mr. Mufara backed that up, and he had indicated the reason we're in a league of our own is because of the value that we create. So while we're working 24/7 all over the world to make everything happen the right way, sometimes the processes may take a little longer than expected. That's because what we're doing is not small, and the developments recently are very massive. And I'm telling you, these things are solidifying on Passive's legacy and our own legacies, right? So we can rest assured all is on track and rolling out in the right way. So to paraphrase something else that Mr. Kamal said yesterday, whatever you're dreaming, On Passive is bigger than your imagination. Thank you very much. I appreciate you listening. I hope that this helped you out. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And whatever you do, just know that we want blessing and blessing for you and all of your family. Thank you so very much. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic On Passive day.